All right, BK, thank you very much. You know, Steve, the one thing I love about this boxing series allows us to showcase fighters trying to take their talent to that championship level. You're going to see the Charlo twins tonight. Yeah. It also allows us to showcase fighters who are trying to resurrect their careers. You're going to see Victor Ortiz tonight. And let's not forget how we began the year with Juan Manuel Lopez, his fight with Daniel Ponce de Leon. Remember, many thought Juan was shot before that fight. It turned into a round and fight of the year candidate.
Incredible memories. I get excited thinking about it. That fight, that Juanma fight, had three elements that you have to be a great fight. One, the atmosphere in Puerto Rico was sizzling. Two, changes in momentum, and three, a kick butt ending. That's probably been the best fight we've had on Extreme since we started this show 3 years ago.
You know, another thing that this series allows us to do is showcase some of the future stars in boxing. We brought you Julian J. Rock Williams, how he's exploded under that junior middleweight division. Give me some names, some of the guys that we've brought this entire year that's impressed you.
Well, I think of some of the U.S. Olympians, Brian. I think of Saddam Ali. His career was kind of stagnant at welterweight. Then all of a sudden he fought Jeremy Bryan on our show, and now he's one fight removed and he's knocking on the door of being a contender. I think of Errol Spence, who has learned as fast as any U.S. Olympian. He's advanced so quickly. And I think of Jojo Diaz. He looked like he was about 11 years old when he turned pro, and he still looks like he's about 11 years old, but he's rising fast at junior featherweight, and he's knocking on the door of being a contender as well. So a lot of good young fighters.
I'm happy you mentioned Errol Spence Jr. You're going to get ready to see him fight right now. So why don't you walk us right to the numbers?
Well, for Errol Spence and Javier Castro, we take a look at the tail of the tape. Castro took this fight on only 2 weeks' notice, and as a result of that, he had less than the usual time to drop weight. So the maximum was contracted a bit high for both these guys at 152 pounds. You've seen Castro now 165.
And the rules?
And the rules here are the unified rules: no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the ref can stop the fight. Fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and the fight becomes official after 4 rounds.
Both men are in the ring. Let's get the official introduction. Here's the always classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and welcome to the MGM Grand here in Las Vegas, Nevada for Showtime Extreme. And a prelude for our big night of action brought to you by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions and Showtime. Sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina, AT&T, Mexico, and Casa Noble Tequila. Introducing to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Avon, Connecticut, Glenn Feldman. From Flushing, New York, John McKay. And from Las Vegas, Nevada, Jerry Roth. Our third man of the ring, our referee in charge of this bout, is Robert Bird. All right, fans, here we go. 8 rounds of boxing, welterweights in the ring. Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the red corner wearing red trunks with gold and multicolored trim. Fighting out of Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. His weight stands at 151 1/2 pounds. His record, 27 wins, 7 losses, with 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the hard-hitting Javier Castro. His opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the blue corner. This 8th round attraction, wearing red trunks with white trim, fighting out of Dallas, Texas. He weighed in at 149 3/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the professional ranks with a record of 14 wins, no losses, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2012 U.S. Olympian, the undefeated Errol Spence Jr. Once again, our referee in charge, he'll be giving instructions. Hall of Famer Robert Bird.
Good fight, man.
Go ahead and get your instructions out. Gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. Recibión instrucciones en el vestidor. When I tell you to stop, what I want you to do is stop whatever you're doing and give me a clean break. Habla pare, no tire golpes, fuera limpio, okay? Protect yourself at all times, protección en todo tiempo. Obey my commands at all times. Obedezcan lo que digo, okay? Gentlemen, let's do this. Huh? It can go with 8 or 10.
Six members of the 2012 U.S. Olympic boxing team were polled, asked who they thought was the hardest worker, most talented, most likely to go furthest as a pro. All 6 said Errol Spence Jr.
Got 8s. 8.
Different weight gloves.
Talking boss. Where'd he go?
Right now in the ring, they have an equipment issue. They have different size gloves. One fighter has 10s, the other fighter has an 8.
Well, the rule is above welterweight, you're supposed to wear 10-ounce gloves. These fighters are both above welterweight, which is 147. This is a commission issue.
We got 8 ounces and 10 ounces, 2 different gloves.
2 different gloves.
Those 10s?
Yeah.
Well,
You got 10s? Roll time. Roll time.
that got fixed in a hurry.
In a very quick hurry.
Yes. Box.
How about that? The Hall of Famer, Robert Byrd.
What I want to know is why did he think one was 10, one was 8? He could tell by looking, I guess, but apparently he was wrong, and we move on.
Errol Spence Jr. in those red trunks, the white trim. Javier Castro in the red trunks with the gold trim. You can see Spence is the lefty.
Don't think I've ever seen that before. Of course, it didn't happen, but so I still haven't seen it. Castro, not all that experienced against lefties. He's only fought one in the past 5 or 6 years. And he's fighting a good one in Errol Spence. Watch Spence's accuracy. Very, very sharp puncher. There you go.
He sets everything up with that jab. You see him jab high, jab to the body. There's a quick right hook, followed it up with a left to the stomach.
Bad sign for Castro. He's basically a walk-in guy, and he's backing up already in the first minute of the fight.
Took the fight on 3-week notice, but he said he has been training for the past 3 months, so he told us he was ready. Right hook by Spence. And he is putting on the heat. We're just halfway through the first round.
Last time we saw Spence, it was on Showbox. He handled Ronald Cruz rather easily, but that fight went 10. Spence was a little annoyed at himself that he didn't get a stoppage, and he looks like he's taking that out on Castro.
Castro has lost his last 3 fights. Another left hand by Spence. Couple of hooks. And a big left hand to the body.
Show me something.
And Spence is backing up Castro. It's become target practice. Big right hook by Spence. Another one to the body.
Robert Byrd said to Castro, show me something, which means if you don't punch back, I'm going to stop the fight. Now Castro's trying to come forward. If he was getting hit going back, imagine how much harder he's going to get coming forward.
30 seconds left in this round as Castro eats another left hand.
Frightening connect percentage for Spence. He is landing everything he throws.
And Castro is going to survive the first round.
Action from round 1. To say it was all Errol Spence would be silly because it was more than all Errol Spence. It was just total domination. Right hook. And Castro had a look. We look at combinations from Spence as well. Castro had a look on his face like, what have I gotten into? Errol Spence just landing everything he throws. A couple of misses there, but right hooks to the body, overhand lefts, straight lefts, everything. And here's a left hand from Spence, set up by the jab. Right here, I'm almost surprised the fight wasn't stopped. You know, we score so many close rounds 10-9. It's almost a shame that you can count on the judges having scored that round 10-9, because that's close to a 10-8 round without a knockdown.
Well, Castro lost his last fight in May. Before that, he had been out of the ring for 17 months. Said he had some promotional issues, so much he had to get a full-time job. Right now, he sews buttons on Army uniforms in Mexico.
You might be wishing he was doing that right now.
You take a look at the power punch. Look at that, 75%. I mean, it was just target practice for Errol Spence.
And when you see that number, 75%, it is a small miracle that Castro got out of the round.
There's a right hook.
Yeah, it's not going to take much, Brian, for Robert Byrd to call this. 10-ounce gloves, 8-ounce gloves, or 78-ounce gloves, I don't care.
Another body shot by Spence. And a straight left hand. Castro said he was going to try to pound the body of Errol Spence Jr.
And Castro's right hand, his big weapon, is an overhand right, and it's so telegraphed there's no way he's going to land it against Spence.
Well, Spence, just 4 fights into his pro career, got the opportunity to go train with Floyd Mayweather. He sparred with him to get him ready for the Robert Guerrero fight. He said he held his own, and he said in his mind he knew he had what it takes to be a good pro.
Well, he's a ways from fighting Floyd Mayweather, but he's certainly on the right track. This is a fighter who we believe has lost 1 round in his professional career. And now he's pounding the body more than he did in the first round. And Castro just doesn't have the speed or the reflexes to deal with Errol Spence.
Minute now left here in round 2. You talk about the body shots. Look at that.
Yeah, that's painful. I mean, 22 body shots, and we're, what, 5 minutes into this fight?
And add another one. "40 seconds now left here in round 2.
Well, if Castro gets out of this round, and that's not a given, let's see what his corner does, because to send him back out there, I mean, he's not in this fight, let's face it.
Here's another body shot. Right hook by Spence.
And Spence moving back when he's on the inside, just enough to get full leverage so that he can extend his arms. Such a smart boxer, and so calm in the ring and cool.
Deep breath, listen. Where the bucket at? One thing I need you to do, where the bucket at? One thing I need you to do is this, listen. I need water. Shoot the shot, stay on the side. Don't stand on the front of it. You're trying to counterpunch, all right? You don't have to shoot so many shots. Pop, pop, keep them doing.
It was a better round, but you got to keep going. Get your body in there. Do not go back. You got to fight inside. Inside and quick. Inside, and then you do the jab, and then right in the center. Good work. But keep pushing him back. Keep pushing him back.
Thanks for the translation from our very own Felix de Jesus.
Pick him up, Spence.
Francisco Moreno, he's the trainer of Javier Castro. And that was the same thing they told us in our fighting meeting, that he had to throw punches, he had to stay on the inside, pound Spence's body, and avoid the left hand. Everything that he has not done in this fight.
Game plans tend to get thrown out the window once you get hit, and when you get hit again and again.
Here's the left hand. And a body shot by Spence.
Spence had 18 body connects in round 2. He threw 115 punches last round. Castro might have gone low there, but Bird was on the other side, didn't see it.
No.
Spence's last fight was in June. He stepped up in class. He says got his career best win against Ronald Cruz. That fight went 10 rounds. He said it was great confidence for him because it was the first time he had gone 10 rounds. He said now he knows he can go into deep waters.
Well, much as is the case in this fight, he did nothing wrong against Ronald Cruz. That was on our Showbox series, and he just dominated and against a veteran. Here he's dominating against a naturally smaller opponent. And I have to believe that body attack eventually will
do dividends here.
Yeah, and he'll take Castro out, or the fight will be stopped. I mean, it's hard to envision anything else.
As we come to the halfway point here, round 3. It has just been a methodical job here by Errol Spence. You see that the jab, the left hand, and then he'll go to the body.
Spence is such a smart boxer. As you said, he mixes his attack and he mixes the way he throws his left hand. Sometimes it's from the side, sometimes overhand. There underneath. All the 2012 U.S. Olympians, the men, all punched to the body very well. And that interests me because it's not something that is really stressed in the amateur game at all. You don't get many points for it.
Break clean.
It's mind-blowing when you think about it that none of those guys medal. When you look at what these guys have done now that they're pros, whether it's Jojo Diaz, Marcus Brown, Errol Spence Jr., Rasheed Warren.
Yeah, a lot of talent, but this guy might be the best of all of them. You mentioned at the start his own teammates thought he was, or would be.
Another combination. Cat with a left hand by Spence.
Well, Castro's plan is obviously to hope Spence gets tired of hitting him. That's it. That's the only way he can be in this fight.
And then come back on the back end.
Action from round 3. Again, one-way action. Errol Spence flashing all kinds of punches. Overhand left, leading with the left hand, coming underneath with the left. That's a nice 4-punch combination there. Leading again with the left hand around the side. He's really showing us everything. He's like a pitcher with a really good fastball that has 4 other pitches. And staying out of reach so Castro can't counter.
Look at this. I mean, wow. I mean, Castro hasn't even hit double digits yet when you talk about punches landed.
Both sides of those numbers are scary. The total punches Spence is landing and the punches Castro is failing to land.
Dry up when they go out. Okay. Dry up, Red.
Round 4. It's scheduled for 8. Quick right hand by Spence.
I think we've established that Castro's a pretty tough guy.
Yes, he is.
I mean, to keep walking in when he's taking that many punches, most of them flush.
He's eating a lot of punches here.
And there's a little bit of success, at least geographically. He pushes Spence to the ropes. Not for long, but...
Well, Castro, this is his first fight here in Vegas. He's fought here in the States now 6 times as he eats a left uppercut. He said he wants to show U.S. fans that he's the personification of a true Mexican warrior.
Spence's best chance to get a stoppage right now, I would think, would be to land one big shot and then just pour in with a bunch more and force Robert Byrd's hand.
Yeah, I'm interested to see at one point maybe his corner says, all right, we want you to step on the gas. You got him hurt, step on the gas.
Yeah, he's kept a good work rate, but kind of picking his shots. And what he needs to do is maybe pin Castro against the ropes. Right now, though, Castro's still coming forward. Remarkable, given the punishment he's taken.
Spence fighting off the ropes. And steps around.
In his 14 fights to date, Spence averaging about a knockdown per fight. So while he doesn't look like that big a one-punch guy, he's been very successful putting his opponents on the ground, and that's because of the body attack. There it is again.
There's another one. Devastating body shots, ripping body shots there by Errol Spence Jr.
What we're seeing here brings up an interesting point. Because Castro's coming forward and occasionally punching, is that enough for the ref not to stop the fight? My answer to that is no. I think this fight could easily be stopped right now.
There's nothing on the punches of Castro as we hit the 30-second mark.
Yet there's Castro, inching forward.
Another right hand to the body.
Got a bell coming, guys.
Caps around with a shot to the body. Fans Showtime has just launched a new game enabling fans to pick fights, build a win streak, earn great prizes. Here's more info on how you can get in the game.
All right, fans, here we go.
It's time to pick fight winners and win big with ShowStreak. Go to ShowStreak.com and pick who you think will win the upcoming bouts on Showtime Boxing. Rack up wins and watch your streak grow. Take a loss and rebuild your streak from zero. The bigger the streak, the bigger the prizes. Hit 50 in a row and you're eligible for the grand prize. A trip for two plus tickets to a Showtime pay-per-view event. Get your streak on. Go to ShowStreak.com to register, then pick and play to win big.
You have to pick how many? 50 in a row? This is boxing, right? Help me, please. Somebody help me.
You are not eligible.
Oh, I'm not eligible?
No.
Okay.
No, come on now. Halfway through this fight, Errol Spence Jr., Javier Castro. It has been totally lopsided.
I was watching Castro's corner, and he's sitting there looking exhausted, blood dripping from his mouth. And his corner is trying to give him strategy. I mean, come on. This is how he fights. And you know what? A guy like Castro can make real good fights against a certain level of opponent. Not against Errol Spence.
Well, Errol Spence says he's so looking forward to 2015. He thinks it's going to be a breakout year for him. And as he told us, he wants to fight some credible, named opponents in the new year.
Yeah, I think he's ready for maybe the slightly faded former champ type of guy. You know, the wily veterans who can show him different looks. You know, the body attack.
Uppercut to the body.
He's really just not missing, Spence. 69% of his power shots he's landing.
Another right. Then followed it with a straight left hand. It's become target practice now for Spence.
Robert Byrd anytime.
Castro's ready to go. Show me something. Show me something. Show me something. What is keeping Javier Castro up?
He wasn't throwing any punches, and then Byrd said, show me something again, and he threw 3 or 4 looping shots. But again, is that enough to let this fight continue? I don't think so. Spence, a little bit less on his shots, only because he's getting tired of hitting them.
Yes. Minute left in this round.
Super the go, let's go.
That's one brave corner, Castro's corner, I'll tell you that.
Spence hasn't thrown a punch in like 20 seconds.
This is the equivalent of a 30-second timeout.
Right.
And here he comes
Here
back.
comes the barrage. Robert Byrd stepping in. And he's getting closer.
I don't know what more Robert Byrd needs to see.
Oh, this is it. And finally, he's seen enough.
And if the fighter's corner is not going to say thank you for that stoppage, you and I will say thank you.
You got to protect the fighter.
Brian, Errol Spence landed 71% of his power shots.
I was gonna get him. I gonna keep punching.
This is round 5, the last round of the fight. And at this point, Spence was landing single shots, but everything landing. He gets his man in trouble. He backs him up. He backs him to the ropes. Now watch Byrd come in, the referee. And you see Byrd say,
"Gotta show me
something." And sure enough, Castro threw enough punches to extend the beating another minute or so. And this is the end of the fight in super slow-mo. Look at these shots. Oh, that left uppercut. Well, that was enough. Yeah, that was about as brutal a punch as Spence had landed the whole fight, and that convinced Byrd finally to call it a day.
Let's get the official time of the stoppage. Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a time of 2 minutes, 43 seconds in round number 5. A referee stops the contest. The winner by way of technical knockout, Errol Spence Jr.
Take a look now at the show stats. Boy, these numbers just gaudy.
Wow.
For Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah, 71% of power shots. I've seen 60, I've seen 50. 70 is really about as high as I've ever seen. And Castro landed, what, 23 punches in 4+ rounds. It's about as one-sided a beating as you're going to see.
Add another win, add another knockout to Errol Spence's record. As he talks about in the new year, he wants to start stepping up in competition. Let's send things up to the host desk. Here's Brian Kinney.